Today, we shall be talking about the difference between one-person company, a private company, and a public company. If we consider the basis of ownership, the companies, they are categorized into these three parts: private limited, public limited, and one-person company. The concept of one-person company is comparatively a newer concept. It was not there in the Companies Act 1956. It has been launched in the 2013 Act. Now we will be studying them in detail. First, we will consider private limited company. As per section 2, subsection 68 of the Indian Companies Act 2013, private company means a company. The company which in its articles states the following. Its articles of association allows these three terms. The first is a private limited company restricts the right to transfer its shares. Any private limited company, there is a restriction that you cannot transfer the shares to the general public. This is the first condition and the first categorization of private limited company. Secondly, it has minimum 2 and maximum 200 members. So the limit of members, you can have a private limited company can have any number of members ranging from 2 to the maximum of 200, not less than 2 and not more than 200 members. But thus detailing from 2 to 200, it excludes the present and the past employees. They will not be considered. If we are talking about the maximum of 200 members, that will be considering the present members, not the present and the past employees. We don't take into this category. Now the third point is it prohibits any invitation to the public to subscribe for any securities of the company. So a private limited company is prohibited. It cannot invite the public, the common citizens, to subscribe for its securities of the company. So you cannot invite people to come and subscribe for your shares. So these are the 3 points which are the special characteristic of a private limited company. If we talk about the public limited company, the first line, a public company is a company which is not a private company. So in the previous slide, we discussed 3 points. Those 3 points are not there in the public limited company because a public company is a company which is not a private company. Now, as per the Companies Act, these are the 3 characteristics of a public limited company. The minimum numbers are 7 and the maximum no limit, unlimited, infinite number of members you can have. But the minimum limit is fixed for 7. Okay. Now, it has no restriction on the transfer of securities. When we talked about the public limited company, the transfer of securities was restricted. You cannot. But here, there is no restriction as whatsoever. You can transfer the securities from one person to another person n number of times. It is totally allowed. There is no such restriction. Third point states that it is not prohibited to invite general public to subscribe its securities. What is the meaning of this statement is that you are very well allowed. You can invite general public to come and subscribe to its securities. So such type of company having these 3 characteristics is called a public limited company. Now a private company which is a subsidiary of a public company. Supposingly, please listen carefully, there is a public company and it has a subsidiary company which is a private company. The subsidiary company is a private company, but that private company will also be treated as a public company. Why? Because that private company is a subsidiary of a company which is a public company. So the mother company, if it is a public company, the subsidiary will also be considered as a public company. Okay. Next comes one-person company. I have already told that this is a relatively newer concept. It was introduced in 2013 Act. Now, apart from a public or a private company, 2013 Act enables the formation of a new entity also called OPC. OPC means a company with only one person as its member. I'm not talking about a director, I'm not talking about employee, I'm talking about the member. You have only one person as the member. There will be only one member. This is as per section 3, subsection 1 of 2013 Act. Further, only a natural person who is an Indian citizen and a resident in India shall be eligible to incorporate an OPC. So a natural person like me and you, we can form one-person company. One person can form a one-person company, but it has to be a natural person. A company cannot form a one-person company because a company is not a natural person. It is an entity, right? So one natural person, one human being can form an OPC. Apart from being the natural person, another condition is you have to be an Indian citizen of India, and a resident of India. And a resident in India is another condition. So if you fulfill all these three conditions, you are very well eligible to incorporate a one-person company. Now, no person shall be eligible to incorporate more than one-person company, more than one OPC. Okay, one person can form only one OPC. It is not that one person can incorporate to form more than one OPC. So one person, one OPC, that is it. And you cannot also become nominee in more than one such company. You can become nominee in only one such company, not more than one. Okay. Now OPC to compulsorily convert itself to public or private company in certain cases. So there are rules set. If you cross those rules, if you go beyond that limit, you have to compulsorily convert that OPC to either a public company or you will convert it to a private company. Now, what are the two conditions? Where the paid up share capital of an OPC exceeds 50 lakh rupees. If the paid up share capital is within the range of 50 lakh rupees, there is no such problem. But once the paid up share capital on OPC is exceeding more than 50 lakh rupees, OPC has to convert either to a public company or to a private company. Simple. Second condition is its average annual turnover during the relevant period exceeds 2 crore rupees. If the average annual turnover is more than 2 crore rupees, still you have to convert yourself to a public company or a private company. In both these cases, when the share capital exceeds 50 lakh rupees and the average annual turnover exceeds 2 crore rupees in that particular period, it shall cease to be entitled to continue as one-person company. So you cannot continue with the same company as one-person company. You have to change either to a public or to a private. So these were the little small introductions to the three terms which we are going to discuss. And now comes the difference. We will be taking one point one by one. The first basis of difference is the number of members. One-person company, the minimum number is 1 and the maximum number is also 1. What is the meaning of the word member here? Member means shareholder. So there will be just one shareholder, one and only one, not less than one, not more than one. Okay. Now in the private company, the minimum members is 2, which you can have, not less than 2, and the maximum number is 200. So this excludes the present and the past employee members under the 2013 Act. So the range is 2 to 200. For the public company, the minimum number is 7 and the maximum, there is no limit. You can have infinite number of members. There is no restriction to the maximum number of members, but the minimum cannot be less than 7 in this case. Second is the transfer of shares. Transfer of shares is not applicable at all to one-person company because there is only one shareholder. You cannot have more than one shareholder. So the transfer of shares is not applicable here. In the private company, the articles of association restricts the transfer of shares. You cannot transfer your shares. Whatever you are having, that you only have to hold. You cannot transfer them to XYZ anybody. But here in the public company, the transfer of shares is usually without any restrictions. There is no restriction at all. You can transfer your shares to anybody. Anybody means anybody. There is no restriction. You don't have to follow any rules for that. So the transfer of shares are totally unrestricted in the public company. Third point comes the prospectus. In one-person company, it is not applicable only. Now, what is the meaning of prospectus? We have made a detailed article on the same. You can please have a look. Now, prospectus is an advertisement in which the company invites the general public to come and subscribe to its shares. Now, in one-person company, when we don't have to allow the public, we don't allow public only, we don't allow the transfer of shares. So, the prospectus is not applicable here at all. And as far as the private company is considered, prospectus need not to be issued because here also we cannot ask general public to come and subscribe. So this is the basic purpose of prospectus. It is an advertisement in which we ask people to come and know about the company and they will be they will be subscribing for us, but when subscription is not allowed, then you cannot invite general public. So prospectus need not be issued in a private company. And in the public company, prospectus has to be issued to invite the public to subscribe for its shares. It is a must. Issuing of prospectus is a must in the public company. And if not, if you're not interested, a statement in the lieu of prospectus is filed with the ROC. In that case, you have to file it with the registrar of the company as a statement in lieu of prospectus. But in general cases, prospectus is issued. Okay. Now, fourth point is the subscription of shares. Shares cannot be offered to the public. Here, though, everything stands across, right? Because there is only one member, there is only one shareholder. You cannot exceed it, you cannot decrease it. So, a subscription of shares is again not applicable in one-person company. And in the private company, shares cannot be offered to the public. You cannot offer whatever shares you are having, you can keep it with them, but you cannot transfer it to the public. And as far as public company is concerned, shares can be offered to the public. Public is very well invited to come and subscribe to the securities. Fifth point comes the articles of association. In this case of one-person company, special articles of association are necessary. You have to maintain them. Here again, private companies, special articles of association are necessary. You have to make them. And here in public company, if you don't want to have own articles of association, then table F of the Companies Act 2013, you can adopt that table and that will serve you the purpose of articles of association. But in one-person company, you have to make your own special articles. And here also in the private company, you have to make special articles. Now the next point is the number of directors. Here directors, I'm not talking about the members, I'm not talking about the shareholders, I'm talking about the directors. One-person company must have at least 2 directors, but not more than 15. That's it. Here, private company, the same rule. It must have at least 2 directors, but not more than 15. And here in the public company, you must have at least 3 directors, but not more than 15. So you have to learn these figures very nicely. Next comes the allotment of shares. See, allotment of shares not applicable in one-person company. Why? I have explained you the whole concept and now things must be clear to you. In the private company, shares may be allotted as the directors decide. So whatever decisions of the director is there, that is full and final, and you may allot it the shares. Shares can be allotted only if minimum subscription has been received. Now, what is minimum subscription? If you consider a shares wala article, you can come to know about it. See, what happens is that the prospectus is issued to invite the general public to subscribe to its shares, and in that case you must have that minimum subscription to move further in that respect. Once you get that minimum subscription, then you can allot the shares. So in the public company, you have to get the minimum subscription, then you can allot the shares to the general public. 8th point is the public deposits. It cannot invite and accept deposits from the public. It's totally not allowed. Again, the private company cannot invite and accept deposits from the public. But in case of public company, it can invite, it can accept deposits from the public because it is open to the public. Next is the name. The word OPC is used as a part of the name. Right? Whenever you will be opening one-person company, you have to, name choice is up to you. You can choose the name, but then you have to put the word OPC along with it. And here, as a part of the name, you have to write the words private limited, which is compulsory. You have to write it. And here, what you have to write? You have to write the word limited. So here you have to use OPC. Here you will be using private limited, and here you will be using the word limited. Now, another question is the company limited by guarantee. What is the meaning of this term? A company having the liability of its members limited by the memorandum to such an amount as the members may respectively undertake to contribute to the assets of the company in the event of its being wound up. So what is the meaning of this sentence? Supposingly, a company is being formed and I give the guarantee in the company to the extent of 5 lakh rupees. Now, I have given the guarantee to the extent of 5 lakh rupees. In case the company gets wind up, the liquidation of the company, I am liable to pay 5 lakh rupees to the creditors because I gave the guarantee of 5 lakh rupees. So now read it again. A company having the liability of its members limited by the memorandum to such an amount. What will be the amount of the guarantee? As the members may respectively undertake to contribute to the assets of the company. Now I undertook to pay. Yeah, na? How much? 5 lakh rupees in case the company is being wound up. So in case of the company goes into the liquidation, the creditors, I will be liable to pay the creditors 5 lakh rupees. If I had given the guarantee of 1 lakh rupees, then I will be liable to pay only 1 lakh rupees. So how much guarantee I have taken, that is my liability towards the company, towards the creditors of the company in case the company goes in the liquidation. So this is called company limited by guarantee. Next is the company limited by shares. A company having the liability of its members limited by the memorandum to the amount, if any, unpaid on the shares respectively held by them. Now, supposingly I am the shareholder of a company and I have the shares of 1000 rupees. Now, how much am I liable to pay to the creditors of the company in case of being bound up? I will be liable to pay to the extent of 1000 only. How much of the shares I am holding, and if out of 1000 I have already paid 500 in the application and allotment money, in that case how much I am liable to pay to the creditors? Just 500. That means the balance amount. Actually, the unpaid amount on the shares, I will be liable only for that amount. Simple. Supposingly I have the shares of 2000 rupees and I've already paid allotment in subscription to the extent of 500 rupees. Now how much I'm liable for? I'm liable for just 1500 rupees. So the amount which is unpaid on the shares, that I have to pay, that I am liable to pay to the creditors of the company in case the company goes for liquidation. Such a case is called company limited by shares. Now then, a important question, when is a company a subsidiary of another company? When do we say that, okay, this company will be called a subsidiary of another company? There are two conditions. A company is a subsidiary of another company if other company controls the composition of its board of directors. Now, supposingly a mother company is holding another company and it has the control over the composition of boards of directors, then the baby company is called the subsidiary of that mother company. And the second condition is if other company holds more than 50% of its equity share capital. Now the mother company is holding more than 50% of its equity shares of the baby company, then the baby company will be called a subsidiary of the mother company. So these are the two conditions which you should understand very well and learn them. So here we come to the end of the article. I hope I have made the things very clear to you. Kindly like and subscribe to my channel. In case you have any doubts, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. You have suggestions, please give me in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay blessed.